really good at routing, so this should be a very exciting match to watch.
Yeah, I am. I'm on pins and needles here. It's like we're off.
The moon is crashing. Run for your life.
That doesn't sound good.
And then he just abandons you.
Yeah, I mean, hey, okay.
Oh. Some extra defense to start off when you've only got 3 hearts is pretty nice. There's a map check on JSR's side. We have 2 normal crystals in Hera and Desert, and I believe there's the blue pendant over in Eastern.
Yeah, my favorite, seeing that pendant over in Eastern just makes you think, oh no, what if Pod is one of the other ones?
Oh, baby, and there we got the bomb start. It's my personal favorite.
Yeah, this is of all the starts in this game, this has to be one of the most technical. I mean, everything else you kind of you can figure it out, and even with magic you can get pretty close to being out of it, but you're fine. But bombs are, you have a limited amount of them, and if you use them wrong at any time, you've got a problem.
Absolutely. Obviously, like a sword, a hammer, a fire rod, all tend to be much safer, do a lot of damage. Bombs, I love watching bombs. They're definitely the least beneficial thing to have as a player to start with. But you can definitely see who's practiced their bomb escape strats and who hasn't. Because there's definitely fast strats for a lot of these rooms.
Now, there is a setup that I don't think I've seen before. Hanging onto that bomb down there for a few seconds. It's weird, right? Because you've got to attempt to, you know, it takes 2 hits with these blue guards, so you got to attempt to kind of bounce them into a way that works for you, and it's not easy.
No, it certainly isn't. And definitely, you can take advantage of that kind of knockback to try to combo them. And that's where all the quick kills on these rooms are.
Yeah, that green guard's the other jerk, because he can decide to run in a whole bunch of different directions, depending on situations. It's also a nice setup. I like that.
Yeah, Eriror getting through there fairly quickly. JSR having a little bit more trouble.
Yeah, trapping him here in the middle with that chest tends to be a consistent setup. Like, you can get him stuck there. It's just slower than some of the other setups, like the one that Ari did.
Yeah. Ideally, you'll bounce him around and try to get him 2 hits real quick, but the trapping him up there is super consistent. And Zelda holding on to some more bombs. Give her players here a little resupply.
Yeah, that's gotta feel nice. Hopefully JSR manages to pick up one of those on his way back out, because 3 bombs left over. You want one of those for the back of escape, and then you need another one of those to take out the key rat in the sewers, and then, I mean, if everything goes perfectly, you have 1 left.
Yeah, these additional 3 here will help him out, though.
There we go.
So ideally, if he can, you know, take out that roaming rat, which can, granted, be a little difficult with a single bomb, and then use a bomb on escape, he'll have enough to clear out Kakariko, which would be ideal.
Well, we found the small key in here, so there is a slim but not impossible chance that we're going to find an actual decent weapon inside the sewer chest.
We also found the mushroom. It'll be... I don't know, it's always interesting when someone gets the early mushroom to see how and when they route it in. Possibly see our players turn it in and, you know, do a console reset if it's not a good item, so they might be able to set up for the fake powder later on.
Yeah, you kind of got to be thinking ahead. I don't know. It sometimes feels nice to do if you don't find anything in dam, just fake flipper and head up. But it's tough this early on, especially without the flippers, no flute or anything like that. It's just it's a little out of the way to get up there.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Oh, wow.
That was a great rat room there on Eriror's side. Yeah, you just gotta try to head on over to that left side, like you would normally, and just kind of try to track the one that has the key, and hunt him down.
All for 25 rupees.
25 rupees and a map.
Wow.
What a treasure.
That phalanx of rats. There was nothing that I think you could do to get out of the way of those.
Alright, so it took JSR 2 bombs to take out that rat there. So use one more, check these 3 chests. Now we'll leave him with 3 left over, which is just enough to do the 3 checks in Kakariko. And then he'll either hopefully find some there or buy some more.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we found much of anything else in the sanctuary, so...
No, just that one bottle of blue or green goo. It'll be nice to, you know, check that sick kid item on their way through Kakariko. But typically, especially when you get a bomb start, you're hoping for another weapon. We got a save and quit on JSR's side. Looks like he's gonna approach Kakariko from the south. Error in Lost Woods here. So both players skipping the lumberjack check. The lumberjack check can be nice to make early on, just so if you can confirm Aghanim's required early, you might be a little more inclined to do it when you have access. Like, if it doesn't look like you'll get other Dark World access, you might be able to go there before you know, check every single location. But with both players on... Whoa! Hello!
Out of nowhere!
I was actually going to mention this, that this routing JSR opted to take, saving quitting coming from the south side, is super beneficial if you find the boots. Kakariko, because then you can just run up and check, you know, the bunk rocks, and then at that point he'll likely check the lumberjack cave as well.
Yeah, unfortunately in Aries' case, he's gonna have to head all the way down here, find those boots, and then head all the way back up, or maybe even not. You might save bunk rocks for later. Interestingly, Aria did wind up finding the book, so we are inching closer towards being guaranteed to clear Desert Palace.
Yeah, for sure. The book and boots combo definitely would have my eye looking towards desert. Outside of that, we've finding quite a bit of money, but not a whole lot else.
No, the cape is interesting, but it doesn't really point us to anything yet.
Yeah, right now, by itself, it's not going to do much for our runners here.
Stick kid with the cash prize.
Dang, yeah, they're going to be basically set on their money for the majority of the game here.
Okay, well, I mean, outside of maybe the cape, boots were pretty much the only interesting thing we wound up finding in Kakariko Village.
That's true. We do have that book for desert access, but I imagine our runners here are going to put that off at least for a little bit, hoping to find, a fire source and a glove so they can just clear it out.
Yeah, which is funny because usually you're avoiding Desert Palace because maybe it requires the boots, but you've already found the boots, and now you're kind of avoiding Desert Palace for the stuff that you usually have at this point. Like, I'd say a good percentage of seeds at this point, you've found your lift upgrade somewhere here in Kakariko Village, or,
You definitely typically find it before boots. A lot of times you're making that choice of, like, do I want to take this book and go see if Desert's boot locked or not? Yeah, rather than waiting for the other stuff. But even without the lift upgrade or the fire source, they will be able to get that ledge item if they opt to go there. And then another 1 or 2 items in the main part of Desert.
Eri makes a good gamble that something nice is going to be on the ledge. Alright, so Eri didn't wind up saving quitting the Sanctuary to check the Bonk Rocks. He's going to take the more traditional route down here south. JSR, however, is headed straight there.
There's a bottle of blue goo to go with their green goo. Magic powder. Well, that means we don't have to worry about anyone setting up for fake powder.
Yeah.
That's nice. They can just turn in that mushroom whenever they can squeeze it in and not have to worry about it.
Unfortunately, can't really use that yet. No mirror, no Dark World access, no hammer. It's a whole rupee in the dam. Well, the goods are either here in Mini Moldorm Cave, or they might be in the Eastern Palace area. Or I guess we haven't seen what that mushroom turns into yet, I suppose.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised by a relatively early Eastern Palace play by either player here. And there's the red mail. And a mirror. And a bow.
Hey!
Wow!
Alright.
A generous man indeed.
And some replacement bombs for the ones that it took to get in there.
That was a pretty hype Moldorm cave.
So we are getting an early ped check on JSR's side. Which is interesting. Like, he just happened to be able to, he's got the boots, he's got the book. Just a heart container.
Yeah, you rarely see a ped check that early, but...
Hey, there's our lift upgrade. Desert's looking a little nicer, but you really still want that fire source before you head in that direction.
Absolutely. Eriror is our area here is gonna be gonna pick up his magic powder. I imagine he'll be checking out that lumberjack cave, finding the 10 arrows in there as well. And then we'll see where he decides to go. He could head over to Eastern. The 3 items behind Saucerla. Potentially 3 items in Eastern Palace is also nice. It is a pendant, so he might not want to commit to full clearing it just yet, but he has that ability with the bow.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's 6 items over there. Guaranteed 6 items. Harry ignoring the pedestal, which will turn out fine in the end. The jukes on that Moldorm. There we go.
Yeah, sometimes their RNG movement can just make them a pain. My favorite is when they squeeze along the bottom there.
Oh yeah, he's stuck in the corner. Oh no, it's down to one. Ugh.
Ooh,
Oh, that's not good.
that's a bad feel.
Hard reset, dude. Keep
That
those
makes
bombs
sense.
around.
Yeah, he didn't get anything important from the dam. This way he saves money and a little bit of time from having to buy bombs.
Well, we'll hope his stream comes back up. Meanwhile, we got this eastern dip. We saw Blue Cane, I think it was. That was hanging out in the back of Sahasrah's hut. Okay. That's nice. Especially after immediately finding that bow. It's not... doesn't count as progression, but...
No, especially if the early the silvers will trivialize a lot of the bosses and the combat in this game. In the early red mail, our players are already going to be tanky and powerful.
Okay, big key, so we're not logically locked out of here.
Yeah, that could... Well... I mean, the boss wouldn't be in the logic either. So... These last two locations here in Eastern are technically out of logic without that lantern. But, you know, any player that's still determined at this point will just not even hesitate to finish this up while they can.
Now, this is... I mean, in general, it's difficult to do dark rooms without a sword. Doing the ones around here stink a little bit. So there's either going to be an item here, or it's going to be hanging out on Armos Knights. I mean, you've sequence broken already, so I guess you keep going.
Yeah, at this point I feel like you're a little too invested. Plus you have that bow. For all we know, Lantern could be, you know, in desert or something. Which means that this would be in the logic soon. You gotta activate them before you unload all your arrows. Alright, health refill, get a few more arrows. Resetting the room here should hopefully help them find that Igor.
Saving Quinn out of there. Fair enough, I guess. Better things to do. Specifically, better things to do is go to desert.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see how this turns out. It obviously could be nothing. And it is just a pendant. So at least that, and we already know the pedestal isn't in the picture. So the pendant isn't going to be a big issue. But leaving that single item when you've already gone so far feels kind of bad. It looks like we got JSR's feedback. He's over in Eastern. So...
somehow, at some point, picked up that shovel. I'm going to assume that Eri is about to pick up a shovel of his own.
Yeah, I have to imagine he went to the desert before coming here.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm curious if JSR is going to wind up heading all the way.
Yeah, this might be our opportunity to see what's sitting on our Miss Knights.
Ooh. Desert did wind up being boots locked after all, although you could potentially get to the end without boots, but it's just nice to have those. Plus the fact that you got silver arrows. Yeah, I gotta assume that we're not going to see a fire source show up in here. I gotta assume that probably that shovel's hanging out on the right-hand side. Unless that's...
Shovel could have come from like a fake flipper or that mushroom. That would be funny. This mushroom the shovel. But JSR, I saw in his menu that he didn't have that moon pearl, so
okay,
it didn't come from desert.
All right. At the very least, this appears to be a required trip. It might even be a required double dip into Desert Palace. I guess we don't know yet.
It's looking pretty likely if fire source doesn't show up soon.
So JSR is making the play. He's going to head, or he's starting to make his way into the back of Eastern.
Yeah, he's already got that blue cane out. He has a full magic bar, unlike Eri, whose magic ran a little short before he could finish off the Igors.
Okay, so Eri's got that moon pearl, which doesn't do anything. So I'll have to see if this turns out. Oh, he's turning in the, he is turning in the mushroom.
Yeah, this makes sense. It's the only thing left that's technically still in logic.
Yeah, there pretty much has to be something there. He could, I mean, if there's nothing here, he could make his way up to Zora, but it feels like if you're going in that direction, you're probably going to want to take the fake flipper route.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Zora. So yeah, just here in Zora, huh?
Yeah. So this is interesting. If JSR did wind up fake flippering, he wouldn't have had the moon pearl at the time and wouldn't have been able to get waterfall.
Yeah, I'm looking at his rupee count. Huh.
Okay. Well, this is problematic. There might actually... No, never mind.
You had the same thought I did. I was like, Armos Knights is now in logic, and it just bombs.
Immediately. beta. Hopefully, Harry doesn't make the play back there. It looks like he's possibly heading up Death Mountain. So,
yeah, he's got, you know, that power glove. He's got that mirror. So you can at least get up to Hera and full clear it aside from Moldorm, who obviously he needs a sword or hammer to kill the boss.
yeah, I think this certainly feels like a better play than, you know, heading all the way back to Armos Knights for one thing.
Yeah, the only other alternative would be that fake flipper route up to Zora. It looks like JSR is going to turn in that mushroom, which will give him that lantern before he heads to the desert. So when he goes to the desert, he'll be able to just clear it all out. Eri got both of the items out of there, so it's not a pressing concern. But that will save JSR a little bit of time from not having to make that return trip for the boss.
So that was not a required double dip.
You can't trust that mushroom, man, when you find it, like, first thing.
No. Alright, garbage on top of Spectacle Rock. Inside, more garbage. This is another rough situation. We can't finish Tower of Hera. We don't have a weapon, so this might be the required double dip, or maybe it's another red herring.
We'll see. And he can, yeah, head on over here and scope out this ether tablet. Oh.
Okay.
It's fitting place for the ice rod.
Yeah. Wrong cold thing.
So yeah, unfortunately he won't be able to grab that until he has a Master Sword. But at least he knows that's there, so if Turtle Rock comes into play, if it's you know, a crystal or even like a required pendant, he at least knows that he doesn't have to really worry about hunting down that ice rod that's normally such a troublemaker.
That's convenient.
It's super convenient. So he'll be able to clear this out while he's up here. He's got one more item and the crystal.
Yeah, there is one more item, and then if that item doesn't do anything for us, well, I think we're looking at Akka.
Yeah, we've got that cape to get in there, sword to finish it, and the lantern to light it up.
Yeah, plus you've got silver arrows, which, especially when you have the fighter sword, having silver arrows in there,
yeah, just for
makes them.
Yeah, sorry, I was just gonna say, just for that first room, silver arrows make a huge difference.
Yeah. If you've got enough of them and all you've got is fighter sword at that point, I think you're supposed to have master sword at that point in the regular game.
Yeah, and those guys are still a pain with master sword.
Hmm. Well, Eri has missed the knocking off the beetles, so.
Yeah, I find if I mess up the kind of the NMG strat in that room, knocking beetles into the hole, it can get away from me pretty easily.
Yeah. It's like a mini Aga fight. You start to have to pull out the protractor, and you're like, how do I knock these things into the hole?
There he's showing off the nice little spin tech to set up the bomb jump there. Getting a heart piece to fill up his health. Which does unfortunately mean no more progression here, so Ega is looking pretty likely.
Yeah.
I guess Eri could opt to still go make that fake flipper route. He does have the Moon Pearl, which makes it a little more appealing.
Yeah, the Moon Pearl and the money might actually be lucrative. I mean, anything to keep you from having to do that. From having to do that dagger climb.
Yeah, for sure. I don't mind doing Ega Tower that much. I think it's actually kind of fun, but it's in terms of racing. If you ever do it and then find out you didn't have to, it's just like, oh well, I lost 5 minutes. I'm probably in trouble.
Just like we thought, he's off to cross his fingers and hope for something interesting in the 4 items that he can get here. Nothing interesting so far. JSR about to get his bad news that he's going to have to head up the mountain for precisely nothing.
Well, I mean, he'll get his sword out of it at the end, which could be even worse news. Since that just screams Ega.
Yeah. We are down to 3 chances left for us to avoid that Ega Tower climb. It's not looking good. I mean, at this point, you're hoping that the first thing you find in the Dark World is the flippers. And then that it leads you back here for your actual Dark World access. Alright, Waterfall, help us out here. Oh, that is where he...
Oh, because he had boots, he could have set up a water walk.
Oh, okay.
I hadn't even considered that. That's smart.
Yeah. This might be why he had... Oh, dear.
Ooh. Well, I have a feeling Ari's gonna check out that dig spot and then probably just head to Ega.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's gonna want to make his trip all the way back over there. He could have tried to bomb himself. Sometimes when you get stuck in the deep water like that from bonking, you can actually use the knockback from a bomb to knock you onto like the shallow water or possibly land, and you'll be able to walk again.
No, I think there's no way he goes back up to Zora. I think that'd be crazy.
Yeah, like it makes sense when you can fake flipper and it's 3 items, you know, plus the knowledge on that ledge item. But making that trip just to throw 500 rupees at a big dumb fish, probably nothing. I don't think so.
I mean, there's a decent chance you're just going to be able to run it in with catfish later if you really, really need to.
Yeah, I mean, they already have that mirror, so if that's a good point. If Ari ever, makes his way up to that catfish area, you can easily just, close up that loose end.
Nice key dash there. I don't think I mean, I must have seen that setup before, but I just didn't even think of it.
Yeah, that's the kind of standard NMG setup. You can do it, obviously, you can go all the way down and line yourself up with the wall.
Oh yeah, I line myself up with the wall like a scrub.
But the chests are also aligned to like the 4-pixel multiples from doors, so you can just push all the way up against the chest when you open it, and then walk left.
Yeah, I mean, it totally makes sense.
Yeah, I did the wall for a long time too, and then I saw someone do that, and I was like, oh.
Like, what am I doing?
Like, it's like a second faster, but it's just like, it was that kind of that realization that I was like, oh.
I mean, an easy second is an easy second. Tiny bit early. Come on. Red guards.
Making good use of those silver arrows, though.
Yeah. And
Yeah, well,
nice 10 drop.
Yeah, and then picking up that 5 under the pot there. Resupply on those extremely powerful weapons, especially when you only have the fighter sword. A lot of the enemies here take a pretty good beating.
Okay, there is not an Aga Blue Ball guessing game, but feel free to put your guesses in chat. It's not going to be more than 15. Also, it's probably not going to be 15.
Extremely unlikely. Like, small fractions of a percent. But, I'm going with 5.
5? A little worse than average.
Hey, there's 1.
Okay. We're, no. Rip the 15.
There's 2. And then in JSR, they can get use of that, Chain of Burnout against Moldorm.
That's an interesting strat.
I like it. I mean, you got it. Big old worm's usually a big old jerk, so want to make it a little easier on yourself.
Well, it's starting to look like 3 is going to be our magic number. Nope. It's starting to look like 4 is going to be maybe our magic number.
Yep.
Ah, you're 1 off.
That was close. Close enough.
Yeah.
I'll take half a point. So we got JSR. He's gonna go check that shovel digging spot. And then he'll make his way up to Ega Tower. Meanwhile, Eri skipping over that heart container. He's got red mail. Yeah, looks like he's gonna head straight up to Catfish and then route Zora in again. See, I wonder if it's the fact that he wasn't able to check Zora is kind of leading him in this direction. Because his only other option is to go to Pod, but with, you know, the bow and silver arrows, he'll have access to the whole dungeon besides Helmasaur. And that lamp puts everything else in logic too.
Well, if you didn't have the Zora money at that point.
Yeah, I feel like it had to be in the fact that he wasn't able to do his Zora check before Ega that led him up here.
Yeah.
There's just too much with, like I said, that bow opening up all of Pod besides the boss, and then the lantern putting it in logic.
Yeah. I mean, You're guaranteed to be able to get everything except for Helmasaur King in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Catfish just coughing up a lot of cash. Giving JSR some time to make his way through Ega Tower and catch up a bit here. Eri does have to return to Desert. So that was kind of part of the time difference.
I think at this point, those are the exact 2 pendants we didn't want to see.
Particularly the green pendant being on Turtle Rock.
Yeah.
With the knowledge of the ice rod location.
Yeah, this is the rarest possible situation where the ice rod has the potential to lock 2 items instead of just 1.
The one upside to this is the fact that Pod is a pendant, and it's the only play Eri can make. Without that hammer, you won't, unless it's in here, you won't be able to finish. But the fact that it's a pendant means he doesn't really have to worry about it. And then we did have the Mire and I believe Ice Palace were the 2 red crystals there. So those are kind of late, like heavier requirement dungeons. So that Pyramid Fairy might not come into play this seed.
There's a worry here where Eri might decide to just head into Eastern Palace after this, thinking, you know, I left something in there. Hopefully we find something really, really nice in here that just says, get out of here and go explore the rest of the world.
For sure. We're going to find something to open up some options here. So we're going to find either the hammer itself, kind of a French vanilla location. A hook shot could be in here. Something. Probably going to find something that gets us over to that West Dark World. So maybe Titan's Mitts.
Hookshot, hopefully. I mean, Hookshot would be really nice because there's a couple of mirror locations along the way that kind of get opened up by that.
Yeah, for sure, and it's just a really nice item to have. They'll also open up East Death Mountain.
Yeah. Plus having that cape, I guess. I didn't even think of that either. Okay, speaking of vanilla.
JSR opting to pick up that heart container in the pyramid. He's now hot on Eri's heels. This is pretty much tied up at this point. As I mentioned, Eri does have to return to Desert at some point, which is a leg up JSR has over him. So, as you mentioned, hopefully whatever we find in here will encourage Eri to just move on and not mirror over and go kill Armos, who just had a pack of bombs.
Eri is in the fortunate situation where we know that Misery Mire is a crystal, so we know that we're going to have to... Hey, okay.
Oh, baby.
Well, that's the opposite thing of what was supposed to... That's the other half of Dark World access. Yeah, I mean, he's got that mirror. Eventually, we're going to have to be able to flute over to the Mire area. So we know for a fact that eventually we're going to be able to just mirror out and go straight into Desert Palace, which has to feel kind of nice.
Yeah, absolutely. As mentioned, he did find both items there, so he literally just needs to clean up the boss fight there. And yeah, with the guaranteed Mire access coming, he can just backdoor and save himself some time. So it won't cost him too much in the end. Those mitts are a nice find. Be able to use those to get over to Village of Outcasts using that Dark World Warp over there. Which will open up, you know, the possibility of Thieves Town, in front of Skullwoods, as well as a Blacksmith, and actually that Magic Bat with that powder is coming to play. And there is that mirror we're hoping not to see from Eri.
Oh, man. I was hoping that mirror was going to be just a save and quit into the Light World mirror. But
yeah. I don't blame him.
no.
And it doesn't surprise me, especially after that Catfish to Zora check, cleaning up locations he kind of left behind due to unfortunate circumstances. And typically, I 100% agree with playing a bit safer in these one-on-one scenarios.
Yeah. Like, this is just a place that you're never getting back to. You know, like, there really will not be a better opportunity unless something amazing is on Helmasaur King. You're just not getting back here.
Yeah, absolutely. And that could have been a factor too. Is if he left this behind, he would have, you know, one item on the boss and Pendant Eastern, and one item on the boss and Pendant Pod.
Yeah,
left over here. And that starts to get a little concerning as a player when you're like, oh man, I'm leaving like one item behind in every dungeon I visit. Because that's when it starts to add up.
Yeah. You want to, at best, leave stuff like left side swamp, Tower of Terror basement, you know, not these huge time sinks that you just couldn't get to. The disappointment.
There's also another kind of factor to consider here, moving into these bracket stages, where we have the 3-game series. With Eri up 1 win, he might feel like, you know, for the second game here, he can, you know, play safe and hope to just win while playing safe.
Yeah.
Knowing that he has kind of that buffer that he can take the loss here, and, you know, it'll go on to a game 3.
Rather than take those big gambles.
We got Eri zipping right on over into the Dark World. A lot of options over here. He's got that mirror. He's got his Titan's mitts. He's got powder. He's got the cape. So that's gonna open up, you know, Bumper Cave, desert or graveyard ledge, King's Tomb. So that's probably why he didn't check that before coming to Dark World, because you can just group all of those 3 things together with the mirror.
So he's gonna ignore that north route for now, and I gotta imagine this is a Thieves Town play. Maybe,
yeah,
yeah.
I don't really blame him. I think, like, optimally you're going to be looking to kind of cluster that North Dark World check with doing Skullwoods. Oh, we got flippers into King's Tomb. JSR went straight there.
Well, I don't think that's going to send him in a different direction quite yet, but we do know for a fact that we need those.
Yeah, those are 100% going to be required with Swamp Palace as a crystal. But they don't do anything in and of themselves right now, considering that both our players did that early fake flipper stuff in the late world. And, you know, Ice Palace isn't, you know, a possibility until we find that Fire Rod or Bombos. You could check, you know, the first item in Swamp Palace with it. But who in their right mind is going to do that? We're going to wait for Hammer and Hook Shot.
We'll see if JSR decides to route this any differently. I'm not sure what Eri's plan is here. He might just be straight up ignoring Thieves Town and deciding to do the southern checks. Yeah, no, never mind.
Well, he's taking a dig game so he can come up here and take the Blacksmith home.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a South Dark World check or a route through there. There's also the possibility to mirror and check the magic bat, which is typically a little inconvenient to make that check without the hammer, but you can take this blacksmith home, mirror on over, grab the purple chest, hop on down, check the magic bat, and then do a save and quit. Oh!
Okay.
We got some flute smiths in the house.
How do you even smith a flute?
With bronze and lots of dwarven magic.
Mm-hmm. Alright, well, he's taken that straight to turn it on. I mean, this absolutely makes sense. Like, you just picked up the purple chest. You probably want to turn this in as soon as possible so that you get your boots back.
Yeah, you're right here, so might as well activate that bird.
He's heading to somewhere in the Dark World first.
Help out that overworld movement. He could be heading back towards that magic bat. He might just opt to walk the south route, knowing that there's K45 down here and Stumpy.
That's true. JSR getting his flute has the opportunity to do something different here. Is he going to turn in that powder? He is. Okay, this has the potential to turn out interesting. What do you got, Pat?
Show us a hammer. Oh my god! No way! Unbelievable. That's such a bad location for the hammer. Oh, that's why. Eri, please.
Oh no. Alright. That's East Dark World access.
That's so much. The hammer is like the most important item.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
for
like
being able to route efficiently and clearing out dungeons. And that's a really, really bad spot for it.
Yeah, that's like Mirror being in purple chest. It's just...
It's just rude. That's all it is.
It's rude.
And yeah, this could be like really just damning for Eri here. This is bad. Because not making that check right then and there like JSR did, it's kind of hard to, you know, decide that you're just gonna go over there and do that one thing that, you know, if it isn't hammer, you can't get right back into your Dark World. You have to, you know, head up to another portal to get your access back to the Dark World. It's just a really inconvenient location unless hammer is there to access it that way.
Well, maybe Hype Cave will be its usual self and there will be nothing in here. Yep, okay.
Hey, we got some arrow capacity upgrades, a single arrow, and those are like, value is like quintupled by the fact that Eri has silver arrows.
Well, at the very least, there wasn't anything in there that would have led Eri into a different direction.
Yeah, for now that's definitely a good thing.
Although the Mire area has the potential to shake things up. Is that Bombos? Oh, well, never mind. So that's the other half of East Dark World access, or East Death Mountain access, rather.
Yeah. So it could be, it's probably going to be quite some time until Eri makes his way over to that magic bat. Like I said, the fact that he didn't check it then and there, it's going to make it hard for him to go make that decision. And that hook shot is going to give him a bunch of other options, as you mentioned. He opens up East Death Mountain. With the Titan's Mitts, he'll be able to do the dark side of it as well and check Hookshot Cave.
Once JSR gets over there, that's going to be Swamp Palace access, as well as one away from full Ice Palace access.
Yeah, we just need that Fire Rod or Bombos.
Yeah, we're in a situation here. Bombos potentially could open up 2 different dungeons.
Yeah, for sure. With Bombos being the required from Meyer and Skullwoods, both of those being crystals, either one could be the intended item for Ice Palace.
Nice landmark.
That was a clean sight.
There's our Master Sword hanging out in Blind's chest.
Yeah, Blind's holding on to a little self-defense there. It will open up the access to the Ice Rod on the Ether Tablet if it comes into play. As well as allow JSR to get that Bombos item, which we might actually see before too awful long if he heads over to my area, gets that hook shot, and decides to go do Swamp.
Well, the big chest in Thieves Town will end up being a shield upgrade, so, I mean, it's not useful, or it's not required, really. But if Eri winds up heading in there before getting that hammer, that could be another one of those loose threads.
Yeah. He'll know that there's an item in there, and that will definitely be something that just weighs on your mind.
Alright, Blind down. I don't think there's... yeah, it's just a compass. Oh, no!
Bombos.
Okay.
So another really rude place for the hammer to show up would be Ice Palace. So hopefully Eri doesn't gamble on that one. Oh.
That is our full mire access. With the amount of times that Hammer winds up showing up in Misery Mire, I gotta imagine that's what he's thinking right now.
So we are just looking for that Fire Rod, I believe. For no mode, at least, for us.
Yeah, pretty much. Eri does have to come back to the Village of Outcasts anyway, because we know that the Flippers are hanging out in King's Tomb as well, so it's not that horrible. It's just oh, I don't know that JSR. Oh, he did. Wow. I was worried he wasn't going to be able to pick up that purple chest. It's finicky.
Yeah, it's. That was really sketchy with it right above the portal like that. And then Ether for Turtle Rock.
Okay.
But at this point, unless Fire Rod is in Turtle Rock, don't expect to see it come into play.
Yeah, if nothing else, at least we've ruled out needing that, needing the ice rod.
Oh,
there it is. All right.
Dang. Like, I really don't have much more to say than that.
Okay, well, we're for Aries' sake, he's got to hope that, we gotta hope that the combination of having the fire rod and bombos together doesn't sort of say, hey, maybe that hammer is an ice palace.
Yeah, so this could be a bit of a pickle for Aerie. He's got the ability to full clear Mire, which is looks like where he's heading.
The trouble, I think, is in JSR's case, the moment he finds that, the moment he finds that hook shot, he might start thinking Swamp Palace. Whereas in Aries' case, I think by the time he finds that hammer, we can say for fairly certain that he's going to wind up go-moding Swamp Palace. JSR doesn't have that luxury. Or may not have that luxury.
Oh, absolutely. So Aerie is just missing, the flippers and the hammer, both of which he's going to need for Swamp Palace. So by the time he finds those, he'll be able to just run through there. So JSR...
I was going to say, if he heads up the mountain without that hook shot, he's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, which is what it looks like he's doing.
Oh.
Yeah, that hookshot over in Mire area is essential because it's the fire rod is the last chest in the hookshot cave.
Yeah, and unless he knows how to hover that cave, he is out of luck. Now, this is a rough situation. Like, we know that there's nothing else on this mountain. We don't need to go into Turtle Rock. We don't need what's on the Ether Tablet. We definitely don't need whatever's in Spike Cave here. Watch me the bug net.
Absolutely not. This could turn out very interesting, though. If JSR, after the save and quit, does mirror and head back up the mountain, as we mentioned, he will miss out on that fire rod. But he will find that Bombos tablet and the cane.
He's pulling out the mirror. So yeah, this is a trip up to East Death Mountain.
Yeah, I don't exactly blame him. There's a lot of stuff up here. Although, I'm going to blame him a little bit because I think it's hard. I mean, it's hard to pass up. He has that access to the Mire area. Like, that's 3 quick checks that you can easily make before heading up here. And you have everything to check everything in the Mire area besides, the dungeon.
You definitely, I mean, knowing the medallion required for Turtle Rock is nice, but knowing the medallion required for Mystery Mire is more than nice. It's required. Exactly.
So it makes a little more sense to go grab those 3 items, because you won't have to return with any more items to get anything else there until you're ready to do the dungeon, and then you do get that medallion information. This is good for us, though, as commentators and viewers.
Yeah, this has the chance to sort of close that gap a little bit, although, honestly, I cannot really say where the gap is right now. It's a little bit difficult to detect. I
mean, if JSR had gone to my area first and then came here, I don't even know if I would be able to classify it as a race anymore.
Yeah.
because JSR would have gotten into go mode. With the way that things are playing out right now, I honestly can't even tell you who's in the lead.
I think Eri might be ahead just because of the fact that he's got a really, really good opportunity to wind up go moding both Swamp Palace and Ice Palace, whereas JSR is probably not going to, just because of that Fire Rod.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. Because he's going to be missing that Fire Rod, which again was the last chest in Hookshot Cave. Meanwhile, Eri is going to be hunting for that hammer, which is at the Magic Bat, which is a very annoying location for the hammer. And then the slippers and King's Tomb, which aren't that big of a deal. King's Tomb is pretty quick to check in and of itself.
Yeah.
But there's also going to be additional value in Eri's mind because, you know, he can also check the Bumper Cave and Graveyard Ledge. And we got some nice of that hot new Fire Rod tech in Mire for Eri there.
Spooky tech. I like it. Got the whole thing perfect. Well done.
Yeah, for anyone watching who hasn't seen that yet, this is new tech that's literally like, what is it, like 4 to 6 weeks old at this point. That basically allows you to abuse the way the game handles projectiles in like kind of their quote-unquote Z coordinate. Since it's only a 2-dimensional game, there's like a kind of a fake Z coordinate the game uses to uses for things sort of for like the bird, for instance, and other projectiles, and you can kind of abuse the way it stores that to make the Fire Rod hit things much higher than it should. And in the NMG side of this game, it saves at least several seconds in Mire, allowing you to bypass bombing the wall there and hitting the crystal switch and coming back out.
Yeah. It's typically more useful in NMG because it lets you not only bypass a few seconds there, but it allows you to be a little bit more loose with picking up bombs throughout. Also, there's a couple other weird little things, but it has worked its way into Rando as well. You get lucky sometimes, and you have the Fire Rod, and you have the boots, and you're full clearing Mire, and you can just kind of be like, okay, let's set this up. We're good to go.
Yeah, and it's pretty easy to do, and like on the Rando side of things, it's a little less useful knowledge just because you do need to have those boots and you do need to have the Fire Rod, which aren't guarantees to do it. But if you do, it's a free like 10-second time save if you know how to do it.
Yeah. Given the number of times in this tournament we have had less than 10-second time differences between the two runners, there's no reason not to pick up a 10-second time save.
Alright, so we got Eri making his way to the back of the woods here. JSR finished up his Death Mountain clearing, and now he's heading to Mire area. Fortunately, doing this a little bit backwards than what would have been really the ideal situation. But he will get that hook shot. He'll probably head into Mire himself since he's got all the tools to knock it out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a question of like seeing that hook shot. You probably, I mean, again, you probably think to yourself Swamp Palace and Ice Palace more than you do the 3 chests hanging out up there that you left over in Hookshot Cave. Moth being a tiny bit rude, hanging out on the north wall, but Eri's got it under control. It's going to be a question of where he decides to head after this, because like he's got 2 things to find in this area. He's got those flippers to find, and he's got that hammer to find.
Yeah, I imagine he'll be coming upon those flippers pretty soon. Because if he's gonna route in North Dark World and you know, King's Tomb, now would absolutely be the time to do it. That again, that hammer is still a bit tricky. But he might opt to do it, you know, before or after doing Thieves Town. Thieves Town without the hammer isn't ideal, obviously, because you know you do leave that possibility of something in the big chest. But it's also something that a lot of players are going to, you know, be totally shy about doing, especially at this point in the seed, where there's a decent chance that hammer could be in there for all Eri knows.
Yeah. I mean, leaving something in that big chest it's like leaving something in Left Side Swamp, or it's like leaving something in the basement of Hera. Like, it weighs at the back of your mind, but, you know, sometimes you just gotta.
Yeah. I mean, like, how often is it that you actually leave an item in the big chest, and then it actually is super important? Like, it happens. It's happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to both for our runners. It's happened to most people that's played this game for a long time. Yep. But the odds of it actually happening are just so low.
No, at some point you gotta make those gambles.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see like kind of the North Dark World clear, especially if the kind of the routing option Eri chose for doing Skullwoods, kind of doing the back to front clear.
Yeah.
Which is like pretty popular for, you know, when you're intending to do more stuff in this area.
Yeah, exactly. You can just head straight out here. You are right next to Bumper Cave, and then you can just keep going from there.
So I imagine he'll go check all that, and then probably double back, and then do Thieves Town, and then hopefully he goes and checks the magic bat.
Yeah. He also has the benefit of knowing once he picks up those flippers, because he's already done all the flipper lock stuff. Oh, that's that. Okay.
Actually, that's fine. Without the hammer, he can't even get in to Turtle Rock.
Yeah.
It's kind of a non-issue. That's why he didn't even bother.
Oh, that's right. Like, unless the flippers are there, which he's about to find the flippers and figure out that that was the right choice to pass that.
Yeah, and especially once he picks up these flippers in a second here in King's Tomb, all he'll be missing is hammer, and with that being required to get in Turtle Rock, he knows he doesn't have to worry about that ether. And we got a big chest visit from JSR here in Meyer. Kind of has that big key in that weird spot right next to the big chest. And kind of just maybe forgot that he hadn't picked up the big key.
Also, side note, sometimes I don't understand the knockback in this game. Like, I don't understand how, you know, that beam can hit you from the left and then you get knocked back towards the left. I just, like, how does this game calculate that? I don't get it.
Knockback in this game is honestly probably weirder than most any other game I've played.
It's not intuitive. Well, here he goes. So I think your guess is right. He's going to make it all the way through here and discover that he can't get the big chest, leave, and then discover his hammer go mode.
Yeah, like, so logically it makes sense to do Thieves Town right now. Given what he knows, there's a very good chance that hammer's going to be here. And then once he leaves, we just gotta hope he kind of has that, you know, that epiphany moment of, oh, I can do the magic bat. I'm here. There's nothing else for me in this area anymore. Because as I mentioned earlier, that can be kind of like a discouraging factor of like, if I check the magic bat using the mirror, I have to, you know, take a minute to get my Dark World access back. But since he's done everything here in the Dark World, that's a non-issue. Of course, obviously, worst case scenario is he does have some other options. They're all just bad. Like, everything is just going to be bad options after this.
Pretty much. Oh, man. Hellway.
It's earned its name.
Yeah. That was... Sometimes the seas just part and they let you through, and then sometimes they just all close in on you like that.
Yeah, sometimes it's just high tides and tsunami waves now.
Alright, JSR, this is the important point of... Yeah, I think he's going into swamp.
Yeah, and again, this is another thing that makes a lot of sense from his perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. 6 things in here versus... you'd get 4 out of... No, you get 5 out of Ice Palace, looping it in with the Pyramid Fairy, compared to only 3 up on Death Mountain.
Yeah, absolutely. The, like I said, kind of the moment he went up and did East Death Mountain and Dark World Death Mountain without that hook shot. Oh, nice. Remembering that blue goo there. I mean, given how heavily equipped our runners are, probably won't need it, but
no.
Since he ran out of bombs in Mini Moldorm earlier and did that hard reset, he lost the blue goo. You might as well take the 1 second to grab it out of the chest.
Yeah, I find it funny that there was a sword and a shield down here in the basement in Thieves Town. Like, Uncle visited here at some point and, you know, lost them.
Yeah, it's the hot lore, dude. Him and Blind had something going on. This is where he left his backup sword and shield. Alright, solid blind fight from Eri there.
Sorry, no item, though.
Yeah, and at this point he knows there's something in the big chest.
Yeah.
But also, at this point, he knows it isn't the hammer, which is the only thing he cares about.
So this is the make and break moment. Does he turn in that powder?
It certainly looks like he's heading right there.
Yeah.
Like, the only real reason you wouldn't do this right now is because you just forgot.
Yeah. Which would be even worse.
But yeah, that'll get him this hammer, and he'll be in go mode here. So yeah, he's got a substantial lead over JSR now, because he will be able to just go over and go mode Swamp and Ice.
All right, we have go mode. JSR's chance here is going to be like to just ignore Ice Palace as long as possible. To head to the back here of Swamp. Don't even touch left side. And then ignore Swamp, or ignore Ice Palace for as long as you possibly can.
Yeah, this has been a very interesting series of events in this race here, though. Okay, so that hammer, Eri missing that hammer had me majorly concerned for his sake.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, in the end, it seems like it wound up being more helpful than it was hurtful. Just locking down the actual selection of places that you were allowed to go to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it worked out in this case. I normally despise hammer being like your go mode item.
Yeah.
Just because you end up with things like, you know, Ice Palace or Palace of Darkness that you have fair access to without actually being able to complete. Which again is why I mentioned earlier that Hammer and Ice Palace is just one of those rude locations.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I think anything in Ice Palace is one of those rude locations. Like, don't put anything in there. That's not nice.
No, absolutely not. Especially, like, I remember the logic from like the last ring tourney, where you gotta like go mode Ice Palace like 90% of the time, and it felt real good.
It feels like in V29 you still are able to go mode Ice Palace most of the time. It's just that you don't get to.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Yeah, there's often times where like if you played the seed perfectly, you'd avoided it. But I also think that there's just a kind of less of an aversion to clearing Ice Palace nowadays. As we see JSR about to head in there, hoping to find that Ice Rod, or not Ice Rod, Fire Rod. He's probably... Yeah, I don't blame him. This is a thing that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
3 items
from
in
his
here.
perspective.
2 more on the Pyramid Fairy. Like, if I was him, I'd be expecting Pyramid Fairy to have that Fire Rod.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, this is definitely from his perspective, this is the high percentage play.
And again, it's hard to make that decision to go back to somewhere you've already been. Like, even in the case of like Hookshot Cave, where he was there without the hookshot and like cleared out, you know, half of that area with getting that one chest in there and the 2 in Super Bunny Cave.
It's interesting, this Ice Palace might not actually be hookshot locked, so it potentially could have been hammer bait on its own.
A really clean, super clean Argosite for Eri there. Just showing again that high level of execution from that both of these players possess that we mentioned at the top of the race here. Not quite getting that 0 cycle in the first phase, but pretty darn close.
JSR nails that setup for the bomb jump.
Yep, and Eri is on his way to join him in Ice Palace here. Eri is going to be able to just go mode this entire thing. Which means he'll probably be done just about the same time as JSR. And that will be Eri's last crystal.
The other thing about this seed that's nice is that everything that you could have potentially needed in Ganon's Tower to get the big key, you had to have before you even got in there. So they are fully equipped to make that Ganon's Tower big key hunt.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't have any, you know, boot lock key or Samaria or Fire Rod lock key in Ganon Tower trolls.
Map and compass on right side. That's also rude. That's even worse. This is just more potential. You know, 2 non-required items locked behind the hammer. Like, this whole place had serious potential to be hammer bait.
Yeah, absolutely.
guess the seeds can't all be that mean. Well, that would have been an okay find had we have found the fire rod before this, but fortunately in JSR's case, it's not really going to do much for the Cold Stare fight. Not that I mean with Tempered Sword, it's well, with Tempered Sword and Red Mail, it's kind of a walk apart.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, with how, you know, technically proficient these runners are, that Tempered Sword is all they'll really need.
Yeah, they got this under control. Well, I think no matter how good you are, it feels nice.
Yeah, and here's just a perfect example of the huge difference being able to go mode.
Yeah, exactly.
This dungeon is not really sure what Eri was doing there. I guess he just didn't want to leave that block alone in that room there. And went up and got his buddy.
This is some really fun sync here.
Yeah, this is... I was gonna mention, like, hey, look, here's Eri, he got in here way after JSR, but the fact that he was able to go mode it, he did it sooner.
There is a perfect example of why you'd prefer having the fire rod for this fight. It's just a touch faster.
Yeah, both very clean fights from these players.
With that, though, we are up to 7 crystals on Eri's side, which means that we are making the trip up to Ganon's Tower, rather, which means as well, I mean, everybody's already doing it in the chat, which means that we're starting the Ganon's Tower Big Key guessing game. Get your guesses in. 1 to 22. I see that 33. That's no good. That's not going to work out for you.
That's a pretty bold guess on the Ganon Tower Big Key guessing game.
More chests than actually exist in the dungeon. It's interesting. Well, it's got to be 1 to 22. You also have the chance to get on the leaderboard if you have donated 250 bits to any of the Speed Gaming channels, or you are subscribed to any of the Speed Gaming channels. You get immortalized forever in our beautiful leaderboard.
So, Fantalis, what is your big key number?
I like 14 because it's usually vanilla.
That's a good one. I like it.
What about you? What are you thinking?
I'm gonna double down with the last time I did commentary a couple days ago. Okay. With 8. 8 which is typically, if you do the 2 on the right side and then go left, it's the double firebar room.
I feel like it's never in there, and it's probably just
never in there.
It's just a key logic thing, right? Because that's a locked door, and you have the potential to misuse your keys completely until then. So maybe, a million keys have to show up before it can possibly be in there. That's
a possibility. It does seem to never show up there, but it did show up a couple days ago when I did commentary, and I guessed 8. So, you know, it happened once before. It's got to happen again, right?
Well, it's certainly never not going to ever happen again. Okay, that is a forced left side.
Perfect.
As we thought, JSR went and did Pyramid Fairy immediately after finishing Ice Palace and gets the unfortunate news that what he's looking for is on the mountain.
Yeah, this is... I feel like as soon as JSR finds his fire rod, he's gonna feel real bad.
Yeah.
It's always really hard to read your opponent, at least in my mind in these like one-on-ones, because it's really easy to think like, well, if my opponent did this, then I'm just like screwed.
I think definitely like at this stage when you're in the brackets and you're up against a runner who went, 6-1 in the Swiss stage, you gotta feel well, there goes your 8, unfortunately.
Darn. Okay, well,
like an hour and 30 go mode is you gotta worry.
Yeah, but also on the flip side, Eri with that late hammer find could also feel behind.
Yeah.
Especially because with the way things did play out, had JSR, just gone to that Meyer area first, he would have been in go mode much sooner than Eri was.
That's 9.
Alright, well, I am rooting for 14 now.
Wait, 14 is Bob's chest. I'm an idiot.
Oh, well, you're... well, you're stuck with it. You can't... No backsies.
Dang it. 15 is the vanilla. Ugh. Alright, it's fine. Hey, there's our Quake. Man. If I meant the vanilla big key chest and I said 14 and it's in Bob's chest, I am going to be moderately excited. And JSR gets his unfortunate news. He's headed off to Skull Woods. Dang it.